Hello and welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Reacts, and it is Self Satisfaction Week. And today, Mr. Seddon, what are you regaling us with?
Well, when you said self-satisfaction week, I think we've missed a trick here. We should have done like I touched myself by the Divinals or something like that, shouldn't we? But no. I've gone for a song called "Bending Hectic" by The Smile, and I don't really want to massively go into The Smile or anything like that. I'll probably do that afterwards. But we're coming off the back of the Venga Boys episode, and I said to you, I was between one of two songs that I was going to have for my second one in Self Satisfaction Week, and when we had the massively upbeat Finger Boys, it made my decision for what it's going to be. So it is kind of the antithesis, I'd say, of the energy that the Venga Boys bring. But here's a bit of pressure. I don't know whether you'll like this or not, and I'm not entirely sure you will. However, for me, this is the best song I have heard for years, and it was
Okay.
released this year, but it's the best song I've heard for years. Now, I'll pick up a bit of as to why afterwards, but I will say it does stuff with music that I just love. It kind of lilts out of like being a song into the sort of things I like in movie soundtrack composition and things like that. So yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes for me. But yeah, I've since hearing it, I've been loving it. I've wanted to bring it here, but I'll go into probably why I hadn't yet and why I might regret bringing it here after the video. And when I say the video, just the song, probably not a video.
So, shall we listen to the smile?
Yes, let's go.
I'm changing down the gears. I'm slamming on the brakes. Of inches of top from the 60s. Coming to a bend now, skidding round the hairpin. The sheer drop down the Italian mountainside. Time is kind of frozen, and you're gazing at the view. And I swear I'm seeing double. Gonna bring me down, no, no way, no how. I'm letting go of the wheel. 'Cause it might be as well. coming for me now. We've gone over the edge. If you got something to say, say it now. No one's gonna bring me down, no. No way and no how. I'm letting go of the wheel. Despite these things, despite these arrows, I force myself to. Despite these things, despite these arrows, I force myself to.
Cheeky buggers slipped an advert in the middle of that. I'm gonna have to remember that when I edit this.
Bastards.
Otherwise, there's gonna be a weird bit in the middle. Wouldn't be our first time that we left
No.
an advert in a song, and probably won't be the last.
I'm getting lots of Radiohead vibes off this. Either they've got something to do with Radiohead or they're massively inspired by Radiohead because I said obviously after doing the Bends, and spoiler this when we're recording this, the Bends has just finished.
Yes.
It's got both sides of that album, but all in one song. You've got that sort of the quiet, slightly sort of experimentally widdly noodly bits where it sounded like, especially in the beginning bit where it sounds like this, how they're playing the guitar also sounds like they're tuning it at the same time as playing it.
Funny enough, a lot of reviews have said the same, and weirdly enough, that's one of the things I love about it. That kind of almost using something like picking your guitar to kind of tune it as the basis for a large part of the song was one of the really attractive elements to me. But yeah,
and then having that sort of, multi-layered distortion as well, which so you got in the bends as well, where they go heavy in their way. It's not they're not playing drop D and thrashing it out, but the level, the layering and the depth on there to give that massive change in the song and more weight into it and stuff. And you know, I don't know if I would be jumping out going and saying this is the greatest thing I've heard in
Yeah, I didn't
years,
think you'd like it. It's the honest truth, but I didn't care. It's the honest truth.
but
I
it,
like
it's
it.
one of those. I as soon as it started, I was like, "Oh, this stinks of you."
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and just to kind of put you out of misery, yeah, the singer's Tom York from Radiohead, the guitarist is Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead.
ah,
So the band The Smile were formed during COVID times, so it's them two and Tom Skinner, who is a drummer from Sons of Kemet, which is a band I've been listening to since The Smile. I quite like their stuff as well, and it was partially because Ed O'Brien, one of the other guitarists, was recording a solo album. COVID was hitting, etc., etc. So they kind of formed together during that, and there is an album before this. So yeah, it is that. One of the reasons why I nearly didn't bring it is you've got a lot of Radiohead to get through, and I think as much as like there's that, his voice is relatively distinctive. Or I think in this one, so much of it's done in a lower tone than we certainly used to from listening to the Bends. But yeah, this probably speaks to a bit more of where they go. And as I say, this isn't a Radiohead song, but I think this has a
mm,
lot of the bits that I love from the Radiohead that is to come for you and in the past for me.
yeah. So it vocally, I was going to say, I could pick up that it was someone that was obviously inspired by that sound. I obviously didn't
Yeah.
realize it was Tom York, and
And the only reason why I didn't say that beforehand is I kind of like, yeah, I wanted you to hear it without going, no, it's Tom York.
yeah,
Because I think you'll go, oh, is it a Radiohead song or whatever? But yeah.
but yeah,
I
no,
love the build. Like I think like I could see criticism being thrown at it of going, you've got somewhat of a kind of a slow burn 6 minute build to then get to the transition. But I said about like it's a song that I think really resonates with me and I love, and probably quite partially why I love them as artists is a lot of this sounds very very the Johnny Greenwoodness of it is
mm,
really there, and the Johnny Greenwood from the scores that he does for movies is smattered throughout this, and I love his movie scores, and there's just so many kind of elements to that as it builds, and then as I say, when we get to like the culmination. But I must
mm,
admit, when I first heard it, I was really enjoying it. I was really enjoying it. I love, as I said, I love that kind of guitar pick element to it. I love the way the voice blends. I love the way that it's resonating all the way through it. And I didn't actually necessarily expect a transition. I thought it would build a bit heavier. But
mm,
actually, when we hit that transition spot, and I don't know, just that orchestral cacophonous, almost horror movie sound that brings us into the guitars coming in. As soon as I heard that, I was like, this song has gone from a song that I really like to a song that I love, and I absolutely love it. But as I say, really in my wheelhouse, it plays with so many things that I love.
mm. It said, you know, shock horror for you. I like this.
But that's the thing.
The
I
beginning,
didn't necessarily think you'd hate it, but I didn't. I was pretty sure you wouldn't love it as much as I did. It's probably where I
yeah,
go with it. Like as you said, it stinks of what really gets me going, doesn't it?
yeah. The thing is, a lot of that beginning bit and the build at the beginning reminds me a lot of like the background music and the sort of slight musical notes and nods that are in the Life is Strange games. I don't know if you've played those,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
but that sort of slightly indie but unsettling, but
Yeah.
not to take away from it. It's sort of just fitting into where you are and what you're doing and the environment that you're in. So a lot of like Life is Strange 2 when they're in the woods part, it's very similar to the sort of stuff that you get there. And as you say, if these guys have done like film stuff and bits, which I didn't know, I can see them doing good sort of film stuff. Because again, it's a bit like when you've got Trent and Atticus Ross doing the
Yeah.
stuff that they do. You can tell it's them, but they're not doing what they do when they're doing Nine Inch Nails or what Radiohead do.
Yeah.
Obviously, when they're doing Radiohead, but it's that shared DNA because obviously they still are them.
Well, I mean, like with did you say like Johnny Greenwood specifically being went off and started, and I say started composing scores for films. I actually think the first compositions he did, I think were for one of the BBC One nature programs, I think, but probably an exceptionally talented musician, full stop. But then what I start to see is anything that he did after that, you start to see him pulling in those grander elements that often come with like orchestral composition. And yeah, that just and you said the word unsettling. So you get to kind of the end bit, and I think there's unsettling bit, but it's one of the reasons why I really love that tuning guitar pick kind of thing, because that could just be acoustic all the way through. And as you say, like it could be nice, have a really nice lilt to it. But it is that I think constantly kind of makes you unsettled and wary as you're going through it. And I don't know what it says about me, but I quite like being unsettled and wary. Should probably get out more. But you know, it absolutely 100% floats my boat. And as I say, like, I've listened to it a lot, and I can't see it coming off of my playlist for a very long time. And I think it's directly comparable for me, not quite as good, but directly comparable to another song that we will be doing on the channel at some point, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. And yeah, so you know, it has a bit of a win from that side of it as well.
But yeah, as I said, you know, probably good to sort of not come and go, oh, it's a Radiohead side project thing, because it may have had that thing of, oh, that, you know, that pre sort of knowledge of, oh, what Radiohead are we getting?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's as you've said, if this is where we're going in the future of Radiohead, it does sort of, you know, perk me a little bit more to
I'm not sure whether we'd ever do it on here. But yeah, spoilers galore. As I said, I love movie scores. I think years ago, probably other than Jaws and Star Wars, I didn't really have a lot in my locker. But as the years went on, I started to notice the movie scores more and more and more. And I will say, like these days, I struggle with a movie that doesn't have a good score. It's that sort of influential for me. But I would say maybe kind of offline. And for anyone watching who has any interest in Johnny Greenwood's movie scores, I'd certainly suggest starting with There Will Be Blood, which he did. And it is it's beautiful whilst unsettling at most moments throughout it. But it's in there, my top 10 movie scores of all time. So give it a go. Give it a go. Great movie as well. Give that a go. Fantastic movie.
So down there, comments as always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and all the other YouTubey things. And we'll be back with one more pick each.
Oh yes.
Of We're Looking After Ourselves week. So what will it be? You have to wait and find out. And until then,
myself by the Divinals.
no, Turning Japanese by the Vapors.
Two versions of it. Both will just do the same song 2 episodes in a row. That'd be a first for us.
So until next time, goodbye.